Hello, and welcome to episode 43 of Hello Nintendo. It's a new year. Welcome to 2019. I am Alec, aka the Scottish Lion. Joining me today are Michael, aka Awada Fan, and Sam, aka Catch Up the Duck. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. How are you doing today?
Doing amazing. Got a lot of great gifts this year. Happy to be on the show.
Hey, I'm doing really good. Nice and recharged after the holiday.
All right, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about the 2019 year in gaming, some of our gaming resolutions. If you listened 2 podcasts ago, we talked about our 2018 resolutions and what we thought Nintendo would do, and some of us did better than others. And then we'll also be going into some unpopular opinions. That should be a fun discussion when we get there. But first of all, as always, what have you been playing lately? If you say anything but Smash Brothers, you are probably lying. Michael, let's start with you.
I have been playing Smash Brothers, I promise you, but I have a very bad attention span, so I've also been playing, I don't even know how people say this name out loud, but VVVVVV, 6 Vs. It's an awesome indie platformer. I forget what you would call it exactly, but you have to be extremely precise. Yeah, precision platformer. Yeah, you have to be really precise with your movements. I know Sam played this a year or 2 ago, and that's what made me want to play it. So now I'm doing it, and it's really hard. I have one major milestone in the game to complete, then I think I'll be considered finished with it, but I'm currently kind of lost. So other than that, with World of Light and Super Smash Bros., I've been playing very slowly through it. I'm probably at like 20% done. It's been an interesting experience. I'm really bad at this game, so I'm playing World of Light shamefully in easy mode, but one of these days I'll be good enough for normal mode. I think I'm almost there, actually, so.
I love VVVVVV.
Yes, it is amazing.
Apparently, it's good on 3DS as well. I think they added a 3D effect to it, which sounds like it'd be really cool with the art style. V is great. It's a perfect platformer, in my opinion. It's just the right level of difficulty. It's hard and it's frustrating, but there's very frequent checkpoints, and infinite lives. It's not a, I don't know how you describe it. It's not punishing. It's rewarding, definitely. The art style is cute, even though it's very simple. It gives you all the information you need and doesn't distract you. It got a killer soundtrack. It's really catchy, and I love it. And I play it every couple years, actually. You got me in the mood to play it again.
How old is
it? Was part of that indie breakthrough, I think. So around the same sort of time that Braid and things came out. So we're talking, I think the Xbox Live indie crusade was sort of like 10, 11 years ago now. I'll look it up.
The graphics are so simple. It's been ported to the Commodore 64 without much compromise at all. So that gives you an idea of how simple it looks.
It will turn 9 next week. Yeah, if you haven't played V, play V. I'm sure it's on Switch.
It is. That's where I'm playing it. So highly recommend it.
You've probably got a friend with a spare Steam code from a Humble Bundle or something. I'm sure you don't need to actually buy it if you play it. But do play it. Do play it however you play it.
Sam, what have you been playing recently?
I was playing 4 games at once for a while, and I was getting a little stir crazy because I've managed to actually beat some games. I know we're going to talk about this later, but I vowed to beat 12 games in 2018, and I beat the 12th game on the 1st of January 2019. So I didn't quite achieve my goal, but pretty good. So last month I managed to beat BioShock, which I didn't care for. I think I was just a bit late to the party on that one. I know it was a hugely influential game. I didn't really empathize with it that much. I didn't know why I was doing what I was doing, and I didn't really care. So I just never got myself invested emotionally in what I was doing. But I did get obsessed with Mario Bros. The Arcade Archives port. I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast. I got really obsessed with it for a while, and I stopped playing when I got to number 86 on the worldwide leaderboards, which when I started, I didn't fathom that I would A, enjoy the game, and then B, get so into it that I would get a decent competitive score. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's really fun. It's really good. If you take the time to practice Mario Bros, there's something more to it there. I used to hate it because Mario didn't feel like Mario, but you can tell that the designers definitely did think about how Mario moved, even though he's not how you expect Mario to control now. They did put a lot of care into how Mario and Luigi moved, and there is a joy in controlling them. There's a skill to master. They've got a fun weight to them once you get used to it being different. So I really enjoyed that game. And I beat Samus Returns, which was not my favorite Metroid, but I like Samus a lot, and I enjoyed the game despite it not being my favorite Metroid. And I can spoil Can I spoil it now? It's been over a year since it came out.
Yeah, I've not played it, but go ahead and spoil it.
Oh, this spoiler was in the trailer as well. To be honest, they added Ridley, and Ridley wasn't in the original Game Boy game that this is a remake of. So they added Ridley as a final boss, and that was stupid, but I liked it as well. There's a lot of stupid things that I like, and with Metroid Prime 4 on the way and Ridley being added to Smash Bros, I'll have a bit of Ridley. I don't understand, like, because Ridley isn't the Bowser of Metroid, but he is. Because Ridley serves Mother Brain, but Mother Brain's been in 2 games, I want to say, maybe less. The first one in Super Metroid. So Mother Brain's the big bad, but Ridley is the real big bad, even though Ridley is an underling of Mother Brain.
Ridley's, I think, and we'll get to this later, but in unpopular opinions, but Metroid is a game that has a lot more myth about it than fact, and a lot of people now just perceive Ridley as the big bad guy from Metroid because he's a lot more iconic than a big brain in a jar.
But Mother Brain was in the cartoon.
There's a cartoon?
The Captain N and the Games Master? I haven't seen this cartoon, but there were like the 3 main villains of that cartoon was, I want to say, Mother Brain and Medusa? I don't know, actually. I'm going to look. But while I do, what games have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Super Smash Brothers, being on break with my sister. And I've gotten better. I've still only beat her like maybe 10 times. She's really good at the game. I am getting better though, and I just enjoy playing as a bunch of different characters. However, I've also picked back Octopath Traveler up. I just hit the 16-hour mark. I'm moving through very slowly, and it will take me probably the entirety of this year to beat, but I'm not going to pick up another RPG probably in this year. So I'm going to try to beat it by August, but it'll probably be longer than that because I'll get distracted by a million things in the game. One of the cool things I really enjoy about this game is that each character, there's not so much grinding. Instead, each character has, I call them side quests, even though they're not official side quests. But one of the ways to get better in the game is not necessarily through XP grinding. You can go into a level 20 area, about level 15 or so, if you have the right equipment. So one of the main goals of the game is to equipment hunt, and you can do that through trading or stealing or just searching the environment. And that's something I really enjoy more so than fetch quests that give you gold that you need to then go to buy at a store. Feels a little bit more rewarding right away. Like you get more results for your effort searching the environment and stealing from people than a fetch quest in a standard RPG. So I've been having a lot of fun, and I'll be talking about it throughout this year.
I need to play more Smash. I've heard that there were limited time spirits that I've already missed, and that frustrates me. I can never 100% it now, but they'll come back, right? They'll come back.
I hope so, because that'd be tough for completionist.
I did register my points for Piranha Plant, even if I didn't play it properly yet. Yeah, this cartoon, it's based on the Nintendo Power magazine, which obviously I haven't read because that's US, not the UK. A guy called Kevin is destined to become Captain N, the Games Master, and save Videoland. Evil forces led by Mother Brain. So Kevin and his dog and someone called Princess Lana and Simon Belmont and Mega Man and Kid Icarus are the N team, and they have to fight Mother Brain, the Eggplant Wizard, so not Medusa, but a weird little enemy, King Hippo from Punch-Out, and Dr. Wily from Mega Man, which is the weirdest. It's no Avengers, is it?
What's the name of this again?
Captain N, the Games Master.
So I'm going to go watch an episode of this cartoon if I can find it on the internet somewhere. Oh, look at that. Episode is on YouTube. So I will go watch this on YouTube and report back next
Let's watch an
podcast.
episode. Yeah, let's all watch an episode per podcast.
Yes, let's do it. That sounds amazing.
And Frank Welker voices the Game Boy.
Oh my gosh.
Frank Welker is cool. Frank Welker is Fred from Scooby-Doo and every animal in every cartoon that you can imagine, including both the animal noises and the English noises of Nibbler on Futurama.
So moving on to our next topic, in addition to watching more cartoons about Captain N, we're going to talk about a little bit of what we're expecting in 2019, any, resolutions in 2019. So let's just jump right in. Michael, what are your gaming resolutions in 2019 and a prediction that we can look back on at the end of this year?
Well, my resolution is to actually play the games I've been buying. So I have a problem, evidently, because I have not over 130 games on the Switch. I have over 180, and that's ridiculous. We're talking, I'm treating this like it's Steam, and because these deals are so good. Some of these games cost like 50 cents. And so I have a lot of indie games to play. And as you know, even all throughout this year, I've been playing indie games like insanity. So I've probably played like 40 of these games, to be honest, already. So my goal is to play maybe like 80 of them or something like that, just to really go at it, because the indie games are short. They're all going to be super short anyway, so that's not a problem. And I have the same problem sort of on the PlayStation 4. That's going to be more of an issue because those games are like 80 hours each. But whatever, I'll just focus on the indies for now. And then a prediction is I really think there's going to be some sort of smaller in scope Zelda release of some form. And I'm hoping that it's something like a Triforce Heroes concept or a remake of Link's Awakening. Triforce Heroes, because I don't think it ever got the attention that it deserved. And in addition to that, they could have done better on it. And I really want to see them improve it in some ways that makes it more playable. Basically, the problem is it's kind of way, way, way better as a multiplayer experience. The single player is excessively difficult. They should make it possible to play it in single player in an easier manner. And also make it so you can play maybe with just one friend or up to like 6 friends or something like that. Just make it super awesome somehow. That would be amazing to me if they could do something Zelda related, because at the end of the day, if I'm a fan of just one thing, it's Zelda. So yes, my prediction is to please bring me some more Zelda related stuff.
That's a pretty bold prediction. I'd almost be willing to make you a pizza bet on that one, because I don't think that's happening this year. But we never know. We never know. Nintendo always has something up their sleeve.
Zelda's kind of tricky. They've got a tricky position with Zelda at the moment, where before it's quite easy for them to be experimental, but Breath of the Wild is such a breakout that if the next Zelda game isn't like that, then you've got whole new Zelda that are like, what? This isn't what I signed up for.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the next Zelda is.
Can you imagine a Skyward Sword remake being somebody's second Zelda game after Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, that would be hard, because people now have the expectation that, and see, I was not a fan of the open world Zelda concept, but I understand why it was good and why so many people did enjoy it.
Yeah, I love Skyward Sword, but that would be an awful whiplash.
It would be really, really hard, and yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to do. I think a smaller spin-off title that is very clearly a spin-off title, such as Triforce Heroes, would be that's a good bet.
Yeah, I think Toon Link needs to make a comeback. That cell shaded thing. I think they can experiment with Toon Link and then maybe have the more realistic interpretations of Link. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The more mature interpretations of Link, to put it another wrong way.
Mhm.
As their main Zelda staple franchise, and then Toon Link can maybe do some more experimental stuff. Is it Toon Link in Triforce Heroes?
Yes. Wait.
So, well, it's the Link from A Link Between Worlds, or
Yeah,
at least,
but
I mean, it's all the exact same assets and everything. I don't know canonically which Link it's supposed to be. It might just be an entirely separate. It's like it is a different region. It's not Hyrule, so
from the concept art that I've seen of Triforce Heroes, I know it's all in the Link Between Worlds engine and stuff.
yes.
But from the concept art, it looks more childlike.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I believe that's absolutely true.
I want to see Four Swords come back. I love Four Swords.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, just to be clear, I'll take Triforce Heroes. I'll take Four Swords. I'll take something new. Just give me something Zelda.
So, Sam, what are your gaming resolutions and a prediction for 2019?
Another 12 games this year. I need to. It worked, and I beat more games than I bought last year, which is it's kind of a relief that I've got to this stage. It does mean that I fall ridiculously behind in culture, and I feel guilty when I come on the podcast and what have you been playing? And I've been playing this 10-year-old Xbox 360 game instead of Smash Bros. It does make me feel guilty, so I am. That's part 2 of my resolution. I'm going to play some major Switch games that I've missed out on, because right now the two I put 400 hours into Breath of the Wild, loved it, and then my Switch has mainly been used to play an 80s arcade game. Those are my 2 biggies. Oh, and YouTube. So this year I'm gonna try and play. I'm definitely gonna play Mario Odyssey and Kirby Star Allies, and I hope to play some other Switch games as well.
Kirby Star Allies won't take you long. It's a very quick game, but enjoyable. I haven't played Odyssey either, so don't feel that bad.
I at least benefit from Kirby Star Allies giving that the waiting to play that one, because all the new content only adds to it. I don't think if I played it when it came out, I wouldn't have gone back for these other characters. I wouldn't have seen what this, and there's a whole new mode as well. I wouldn't have played it. I would have been done with that, and it would have gone away. But because now I'll play it for the first time with all of the DLC that's come out later, I'll get to enjoy the whole package.
Yeah, that is one of the problems that people have had with it. I think it's a game that was hurt more so by the DLC and the extended. Like, if they would have released this, let's say 10 years ago, all on one, everything that they had now, this time of year, I think it would have been a bigger release opposed to releasing it back in March. Was it March 2018 that they released this, or March 2017?
It was like the first third of the year at least.
Okay, yeah, it was March, I believe, but I think it was a little bit hurt by that. Yeah, it's a cute game. It's a cute Kirby game.
I haven't really played a proper Kirby game. That's a kind of a new experience as well.
Yeah, it's hard to define exactly what are the proper Kirby games, because after the NES and SNES era, I'd say play one of the Dreamlands as one of your 12 games this year.
I played Dreamland 1 on the Game Boy, but Kirby doesn't suck in. Kirby does suck. Kirby doesn't the copy abilities in that one, so that's not a real Kirby game, even though it's the first Kirby game. It's not a real Kirby game.
And see, that's the thing, is that, and then after that they get very gimmicky, which is a good thing. One of the things about Kirby is there's always something new. There's always a new mechanic in it that you can't say this is exactly what a Kirby is. I'd say Dreamland 2 and 3 are the most definitive Kirby games that you should play. And then probably Squeak Squad is the most. After that is Squeak Squad. Actually, I beat this year, and it's a very enjoyable experience, very fun to 100%.
Okay, I do have Kirby's Dream Land 2. I might have a look. Oh, and predictions. I don't know what 2018 is looking. It's looking quiet, isn't it? Because we were speculating about a January direct earlier. And I was thinking this time last year, we already knew about Kirby. We already knew about Yoshi's Crafted World. We didn't know it was called that, but we knew about it. I think we knew about Mario Tennis Aces. Yeah, we'd heard about that in like a November direct or something. So we knew about all these games that were coming out in the first half of the year. And I want to say Hyrule Warrior Legends. No, that was in January. But we knew at least 3 games that were coming out at the beginning of 2018, before 2018. This year, I don't know what Nintendo were doing for the first half. Apart from, I think Yoshi's Crafted World will be in the first half. We still don't have a date for that. And Good Feel have had delay after delay for pretty much all their games that I can. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's delayed again. I don't know what to predict this year. I have no idea what's in store. A new hardware revision. I don't know what that would look like. I have no prediction for what sort of hardware revision, but it's for slightly better form. Maybe there won't be a smaller version. I can't see there possibly being a smaller version. Maybe a bigger version, or a docked-only version.
I don't think that a hardware revision is going to come.
Nintendo knows their handhelds market, though. If you think of it like a console, I don't think there would be a hardware revision if it was primarily a console. Like, I don't think there would be a Pro Switch like there is a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X. I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at like their handheld line.
It has been heavily rumored. There have been all sorts of insider sources type stories floating around at reputable websites as well. So we're not just talking the fringe blogs. We're talking news sites that predict Nintendo's intentions. And so the theory is that Nintendo's looking to upgrade the Switch, at least with a new and better screen, is one direction they could go. And I don't know what other possibilities that have been suggested are.
If I was to narrow down my prediction, it would be a cheaper version aimed at a younger audience. Because right now the Switch is a more mature audience than Nintendo typically has, and that's great for them. But also, Labo was a surprise for them because they didn't get that young audience. And Pokemon Let's Go had to be very nostalgic. That feels more like it's marketed more a nostalgic audience than a young audience.
Plus, one thing I've noticed is the 3DS in general over the last few years has been marketed to children specifically. So it's almost as if it's depicted as a kid console.
Oh, we said this last year, but it's for sure this year. They've got Nintendo have two not even major games coming out. A remake of Mario and Luigi 3 and a remake of Kirby's Epic Yarn. Why? That's not. How long is that going to last now?
Yeah, I think this is kind of it. We haven't heard anything, and the 3DS related announcements and directs, I think they stopped a while ago now. So
once Pokemon stops, the handheld stops.
kind
right?
of, pretty much. I mean, Pokemon has.
DS was doing so well into the 3DS lifespan because there was still Black 2 and White 2.
Yes, that's right.
But we've got our first generation of Pokemon on the Switch. I can't see anywhere for 3DS to go because Pokemon isn't going to come back. Why would it? I don't know. It's tough. I think there'll be a Switch hardware revision. I don't know what it will look like. I also predict it will make people furious.
That is a really good bet. That's a really
Yes,
good
you
bet.
can never go wrong.
So my gaming resolutions are, and I actually need a little bit of help with this. Well, 1, to beat Octopath Traveler, and then 2, to beat Rathalos and Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. And then after that, I always want to try, for the past 2 years now, so this is kind of my third year, I've always wanted to try out a new series that I haven't played before. In 2017, it was Fire Emblem, and Awakening was really good, and then I discovered that the newer games, this is going to be controversial, but after Awakening, it started to become a very fan servicey franchise, which is a bit disappointing because I was hoping for some more hardcore tactical games. I actually did go back and play Sacred Stones, which is my favorite entry into the series. So in 2018, I was going to do Metroid, but then my laptop, I can't emulate anything. So I didn't want to put a whole bunch of money down on a new franchise. So I never ended up playing a Metroid game. I ended up being Donkey Kong Country, and then also I ended up I did never beat it for reasons. Banjo-Kazooie. I got very close to the end, and I love Banjo-Kazooie. So I actually played a lot more platformers in 2018. So this year, I'm definitely going to beat Super Mario Brothers 3 because that's a game that I'm terrible at. I was terrible at it as a kid. I don't care how much pain it gives me. I will finally beat that game. And then I'm going to play a new series I haven't tried. I don't know what yet. I've considered Bayonetta. Never played a Bayonetta. I've considered some other non-Nintendo ones. I only have a PC and a DS, though, 3DS, which makes it hard. But yeah, if anybody listening can throw me some suggestions, that would be really nice. Some new franchises to try out. Pretty much willing to try anything. And no, I have not played Earthbound yet, but I don't know if I don't even know if I can play Earthbound without illegally emulating it.
You can play. Oh, is it a new 3DS or an old 3DS?
It's a 2DS, actually. Like the very first. Yeah, it's probably about 4 years old now. My prediction is there's going to be another Mario sports game this year. Last year we saw the tennis get revisited. I have a feeling that they're going to revisit either baseball or soccer on the Nintendo Switch. This would kind of follow up the GameCube theme of you had Mario Party 4, then you had, I forget whatever came first, but then you had a sports game. I think tennis came first, and then they slowly started releasing.
I think Toadstool Tour.
You're right.
Golf game.
The golf. That Toadstool Tour is such a great game. It's actually, that's all nostalgia talking, by the way. That is all nostalgia saying it's a great game. But yeah, Toadstool Tour came first, and then the other sports games. I don't know what order they're going to do it in, but we're going to see another Mario sports game this year. Golf isn't a bad bet.
No, I put my money on golf. That seems to make sense to me. Was there a golf RPG like there was the tennis RPG?
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty much the same, but with on their Game Boy you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, there was. And it was pretty much the same as the tennis RPG. I don't know if it is as refined. I've never played it, but I do know it existed.
I feel like golf is a natural. It fits the console. A little round of golf while you're on the bus.
I would give anything for gimmicky golf motion controls. I love gimmicky motion controls that make me irrationally upset at why they don't work. So whether it's good or bad, I will buy golf if they have gimmicky motion controls.
Maybe the Joy-Con, you can feel the golf rolling inside it. As you place it on the tee, you have to keep it balanced in the middle of the Joy-Con.
And then they have the wind peacefully blow through and blow your ball off the tee, and then you have to reset it, just like real life.
Great.
Time for some unpopular opinions. We'll just kind of go through some of these. These are inspired by a fellow moderator. Thank you, Razor Beams, for your insightful post. The first one, what games do people think are more popular than they are? And I'm going to start off on this one, Animal Crossing. I don't know. I know a lot of people like Animal Crossing. A lot of people say they like Animal Crossing, but I think the people that actually sit down and dedicate time to their town is actually very few and far between. That a lot of people have not delved into Animal Crossing.
I disagree. Dude, it's a massive franchise. Yeah, people love that game.
Everybody says they love it, but how many people like? What is this would be a good question for the subreddit and for our listeners. How much average time do you actually play Animal Crossing for? Because I don't know if a lot of people dive into Animal Crossing more than the holidays.
I've never seen the seasons change in Crossing, which makes me sad because I think that would be really fun to see the seasons gradually change. I've never sort of had that. Apart from maybe spring into summer, which isn't really much of a change to notice.
You have a tough audience, Alec,
No,
because Sam and I are major Animal Crossing fans, and so
I am too, and I kind of assume that everybody. I spent 2016. I played and I dedicated time that I did see each season change. I don't know, because I know both of you are huge Animal Crossing fans, and I can't wait for it to release this year. But I'm curious how many people are going to pick it up and don't know what exactly they're in for. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. I'm kind of looking at the overall sales of Nintendo's franchises in general. And right now, Animal Crossing sits at a total of about 34 million sales, which is most comparable to Kirby, Yoshi, and Nintendogs of all things. But for instance, for
that's significantly less games, isn't it? Than Yoshi and Kirby, especially Kirby.
And I mean, interestingly, at least according to this wiki, at this exact point, I guess Super Smash Brothers is at 40 million. Although I'm sure there's been like 10 million copies of Ultimate sold by now, so that number is going to be bigger. But yeah, it does sell surprisingly well, which you would not expect. But because it doesn't seem like a game that people necessarily think about wanting to play. They don't go, man, I wish there was a game where you could do this, and Animal Crossing ends up being that game. Usually, it's one of those things that even when you explain it to people, they don't. It sounds really boring when you're like, oh yeah, you can build your house and work to pay it off and go and fish.
Most people's ideas for what they want to do with or what they want added to Animal Crossing are really bad and miss the point of the game quite significantly. It is a slow, gentle game, and the more things you have to do, the more distractions you have, the less pure and from the game it is.
Right. And like yet at the same time, it at least sells well. But I do, Alec, I do agree actually, the more I think about it, that most people probably don't put that much time into the game. I'm going to guess that the average play time is probably something like 8 hours or something like that. But then you have hardcore folks like myself who will actually literally play it for every day for 2 years or something like that, because I am so into the series. But absolutely, there's no way that people have the attention span to really go at it, unless they're extremely dedicated. But I mean, at the very least, it does sell well. In a way, that's probably a similar thing you could say about Smash Brothers. Chances are most people don't play Super Smash Brothers all that much, but there is a sizable community that goes in deep and will put in thousands of hours into the game. But most people might buy it just as kind of a party game for when friends are over. They'll play it for an hour or two, but overall, they're not playing it for maybe longer than, I don't know, maybe I'd give that 20 hours throughout the entire lifespan. So it's somewhat similar. It's just that Animal Crossing, it has a way of defying expectations at the same time. People do buy it despite the fact that it sounds like it's a really boring game, because for some reason it actually is really fun, at least for a while.
It is. Animal Crossing will wreck all of my gaming resolutions this year. I hope it doesn't release until next December. 2019, that is.
Yes.
Animal Crossing is definitely coming out at the very end of the year. There's so much work to put into that game.
Oh yeah, it seems like a holiday release is kind of inevitable. I would hope so, anyways, because any other time of the year seems risky to me for the franchise.
I know this is going slightly off topic, but I reckon any Animal Crossing is probably going to follow the new Nintendo content model of releasing significant DLC. Like New Leaf was kind of a warm up in that regard with the whole Welcome Amiibo thing. I think Animal Crossing New Leaf will probably get significant content added throughout the year this time, throughout maybe a couple of years. Maybe we'll see significant paid DLC coming to Animal Crossing. It's a massive franchise. People would be willing to pay.
Let's never forget the amiibo cards are a thing.
Oh, yeah, I love them. I love them.
Oh yeah, we'll never forget. Sam and I are among the few that have decided to collect all of them, and so we are well aware of the amiibo cards for sure.
I hope they use amiibo cards.
Yeah, that would be nice to be able to use this investment, because it came pretty late in the New Leaf life cycle. It would be really nice if they pick up where they left off with them.
Yeah, I'm not much of a collector, but you could easily sucker me into, oh, well, a pack's only, $5. Oh, well, this pack's only $5. And yeah, it could go downhill quick.
I think it's a bit cruel to tell a fan base that you're not as big as you think. And I don't know. Is a small? I think a small, loud fan base is bigger than a larger, disinterested fan base, right? Do you get what I mean by when I say that? Like, Earthbound fans are obviously a small, passionate crowd. I think that makes it a more culturally relevant and interesting topic than, say, Brain Age, which sold more, but obviously nobody talks about Brain Age. That's a bad example, maybe. But
I know what you mean, though. Yeah, it is kind of cruel in a way, because there is this phenomenon of having being this underdog series that has such a passionate fan base that somehow makes the game itself even all the more special than it already is. So, in terms of popularity, it's harder to identify a series that is more popular than it really is. But yeah, when you talk about Earthbound, I think that is the classic example people would bring up. But in a way, it is popular because people know about it. Even if they've never played the games, they certainly talk about it. We all know about the meme of asking Nintendo to release Mother 3 in the West. So in another sense, it kind of is popular. So I don't know. It's a tough question to answer because of that.
Golden Sun.
Yeah, there we go. Golden Sun, especially right now, because with Golden Sun, you have all those folks asking for a Golden Sun representation in Smash. And it's just been a long time since we even had a Golden Sun. And so it makes it seem unlikely.
This one, to me, seems a bit more measurable just because I remember halfway through the DS's lifespan, there was a lot of vocal on the forums, a lot of vocal demand. I want a third Golden Sun. I want a third Golden Sun. And then we got the third Golden Sun, and nobody bought it. All the Golden Sun fans did buy it, and there weren't very many of them. That was definitely a crowd that seemed larger than it actually was. It's a decent game, Golden Sun.
Yeah.
I don't want to knock what. Again, I feel cruel picking on something that other people like. I don't get any joy in knocking them down or telling them this is how it is. This is the way it works. There's no maliciousness like that. But yeah, Golden Sun as a measurable amount of fans. It's the ones who bought Golden Sun on the DS, and a much more. I say this, I don't actually know, because the DS was significantly more popular than Game Boy Advance, was it? Or no? No, people are Game Boy Advances. Alright, I take that back, but Golden Sun DS didn't sell well. And there won't be a fourth Golden Sun. I don't think ever. And I don't think Isaac will become a Smash Bros. Contender. I don't think Nintendo would take Golden Sun away from Camelot, and I don't think Camelot will make an RPG again.
No,
unless it's a sports RPG.
You know, for what it's worth, Game Boy Advance sold 81 million units, and Nintendo DS and DSi sold 154 million units, according to the list I'm reading. So basically twice the audience. But yeah, Golden Sun just didn't quite pick up. And for some reason, it just seems like, at least Nintendo RPGs, but I think this is probably true of RPGs in general, they just seem to get less and less popular. At least during the OOs. I see a lot of interest now, even from more common players or less advanced players. But yeah, I mean, I think that also played a role, because so many RPGs just took a hit. Like Paper Mario is the famous example, where it wasn't it was a whole turn-based RPG, and suddenly it just became kind of this big experiment that a lot of people didn't like what they were experimenting on.
Here's a example along those lines. Not a game, but Super Paper Mario's writing, story, plot. I think that's vastly exaggerated in popularity. I think most people didn't like it. I remember at the time when it came out, especially those first few hours, a lot of people gave up. They got bored because it was too verbose. There was too much reading and not enough action. And never mind that the mechanics were different. I think a lot of people were turned off by the first few hours of Super Paper Mario, and gave up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think Miyamoto was wrong when he said that he got negative feedback about Super Paper Mario's story. I know that it's good. I know that if you invest your time into it, then you get a story that gives you a real payoff for what you've invested into it. I haven't done it myself. I've watched the Let's Play of it. It looks really fun. It looks really interesting. But I couldn't do it when I tried to play it, and I don't think most people did. And I don't think, unfortunately, we'll see a Paper Mario with that audacity again.
I've never played a Paper Mario game. I don't really have any urgency to.
Well, that's your resolution then, isn't it? You're going to play Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. I don't know how you're going to play it because you don't have anything that can play it. But that's that's the series you're going to get into.
I'll go. I'll go emulate it again. Yeah, that'll go well.
Do you not have a Wii U?
Nope.
I know you've said this before. You don't
No.
have one, do you?
I do have
So-
I do have a GameCube, but it's gonna be with my sister now.
Yeah, you're not going to have easier. How cheap? Wii U's aren't cheap though, are they? You can't find a. They never came down in price ever, and now that they're not for sale, the second-hand ones aren't because it's such a good emulation machine. If you like it, and I shouldn't be endorsing this, but come on, just put Paper Mario. It'd be nice to be able to say, go get a cheap Wii U off of eBay and hack it and play Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door.
I do. Yeah, I do have access. I can get a Wii. I can get my Wii.
You could do it. Oh yeah, of course you can do it on Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a Wii U. Do it on Wii, and that actually has native GameCube controller support, so you wouldn't have to fiddle around with the stupid adapter.
Exactly. That'll be. I'll report back on how that project goes. Hacking my Wii. Okay. I have a lot to do in 2019.
Any more unpopular games? I guess Donkey Kong is in. No, that's a lie. Donkey Kong Returns sold phenomenally. Tropical Freeze didn't, just because it came out at the wrong time. It came out like a week after Super Mario 3D World. Again, an exaggeration, but people didn't want a 2D platform after Super Mario 3D World. I'm looking at my amiibo for inspiration. No, that's it. I think people keep saying Metroid isn't as popular as people believe it to be, but I think actually Metroid fans are quite reasonable and they know exactly how popular it is. And I haven't heard anybody say Metroid is the third pillar, which stands with Mario and Zelda. I've never actually heard that. Maybe back in the 2D days, NES and SNES, Metroid seemed significant, but I haven't heard that opinion even when Prime was at its peak.
It's one of those games that the hardcore community knows how good it is.
Yeah, they hold it with the same respect
Sure.
as Mario and Zelda. If anything, that's the unpopular opinion, that Metroid is overrated. That's a wrong. What's the question? What's your unpopular opinion? My unpopular opinion is that thinking that Metroid is overrated is a popular opinion is not correct. There's so many double negatives in there, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes. No, I mean, yeah, Metroid does. It's interesting we're talking about Metroid because my unpopular opinion / also a series that is seems more popular than it actually is Metroid's closest counterpart in terms of franchise-wide sales, and that is Fire Emblem. I think Fire Emblem is considered to be a lot more popular than it is because the community is extremely vocal about it. And of course, the mobile game is extremely popular, especially since, to echo Alex's point earlier, the series took a more fan service like turn, and it's just exploded since then. But for me, Fire Emblem has, first of all, never even felt quite like a Nintendo series, but I have the bias of being a Westerner who didn't even get to experience the series until like a decade after Japan did. I'm sure, obviously it's just objectively wrong because it is a Nintendo series. But anyways, it's highly praised and people act as if it's extremely popular. But the actual sales suggest that it's, based on how people talk, you would think the sales would be a lot more. But again, lifetime sales are at 12.5 million or so, versus say Smash Brothers at 40 million, or let's pretend they've sold 10 million of Ultimate, so Smash is at 50 million now. So Fire Emblem really is kind of a niche audience, about the same size as the Metroid fan base, or even the Splatoon fan base, or the Star Fox fan base. But they act like it's just this big phenomenon. But also, I'm really biased because I just don't like Fire Emblem that much.
I think Fire Emblem is quite popular. I think where it feels, I think is a different audience to the typical Nintendo audience. if there's an expectation that somebody who's in the Nintendo community likes Mario and Zelda and Donkey Kong and Kirby, and maybe doesn't play every big Nintendo game that comes out, but you're sure that they like one or two of the Kirby games and the Donkey Kong games, the Metroid games. But it's very easy to see a Nintendo fan, looking at Fire Emblem going, no, it's not for me. And it's also very easy to think a Fire Emblem fan looking at the typical Nintendo games and going, no, that's not for me. I think a Fire Emblem fan has a Nintendo DS and a 3DS to play JRPGs and Fire Emblem and, traditional Japanese games.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair analysis. It's complicated because when you're a person like me who has an aversion to the series for really no explainable reason, because I haven't really played it enough to do that, I'm not feeling it for some reason. I think that's what that question must really mean. What series isn't as popular as it seems or as people think? I think the answer is usually some series that you don't really like and don't think should be as popular as it is. Maybe that's another way to imagine what the question secretly is.
Well, thank you very much for listening to this episode of Hello Nintendo. Tweet us or in the thread, put some of your unpopular opinions or some of your 2019 resolutions. Where can we find you on Reddit or the internet? Sam?
Catch Up the Duck on Reddit, Sam P. Lockhart on Twitter, and look for Video Game Gerald on YouTube.
Video Game Gerald, the official mascot of the Our Nintendo podcast, by the way. Michael, where can we find you on the internet?
Well, really, the main place for me is Reddit. I go by Iwata fan there, and also on Twitter, my main account is actually Michael R. Swenson. So I retweet a bunch of fancy things related to the game industry, AMAs on Reddit, and things of that nature. So if you want to engage my material, that's a cool place to start.
You can find me on Twitter or Reddit at ACL Haynes on Twitter. One of my other 2019 resolutions is more gaming tweets. We'll see how that works. Or Reddit, the Scottish Lion. Thank you very much for listening. Next time, you can join us as we talk about the first Nintendo Direct of 2019. If that bold prediction comes true, because one's going to come next week. I do not have insider information. Nintendo will probably be doomed and everybody will probably be mad. Thank you very much and see you next time.